The hat is back. Okay, so welcome, you guys. Today we're going to talk about to-do list versus success list. What's the difference? So a to-do list is just something that you just write down. You're like, I got to do all this crap, and you just probably start at the top and then you work your way down, right? That's a to-do list. But in the one thing book, they talk about a success list. And here, I want to dig deep into what that actually looks like. I've talked about this in my other videos, but today I want to really make this very comprehensive by addressing concerns as well, showing you what it looks like for me. So let's say I needed to sell, let's see. Let's say I was about to open up a food truck, right? I open up a food truck. I have a food truck already. Not me in real life. This is hypothetically. Let's say I just bought a food truck and I'm finally going to do my entrepreneurial dream of being a food truck small business owner working for myself. So now I bought the food. I grabbed my big savings. I bought a food truck. It's parked outside. What do I do? What do I do to launch this off of the ground, right? So I'm going to write down a to-do list. A to-do list will look like something like this. Well, I can go to Costco and buy a bunch of groceries. That's one thing to do. I can create a budget. That's another thing that I got to do. I can also look for people to help me prep the vegetables and all of that stuff, right? The busy work for prepping food. That's another thing to do. So start looking for people to hire there. I can also start planning what routes and what spots I want to park my food truck. That's another thing I got to do. I can also start looking up, I've never actually cooked. So I'm going to look up the most famous top selling recipes in my city. That's another thing I got to do. How many things is that already? Like 6. So now I have 6 things. A to-do list, I'm just going to start at the top and I'm going to work my way down, right? But a success list is which one of those 6 things, 5 or 6 things, will be the one thing that's going to make everything else a little bit easier. So once I think about it and I really just sit there and I say, look for people to prep, look for, research the recipes. See, research the recipes is better if I, is better than going to go shop for groceries at Costco or Sam's Club, right? Remember that one was one of the first things that I said. I don't want to if I go to Costco and Sam's Club to buy the groceries first and to buy the product, a lot of it's going to go to waste because I don't even know what I'm cooking yet. So the logical first step for me to do is to find out what's my menu going to look like, right? That goes to show you that some things are more important than the other thing. Find out the menu, find out the recipes, then go buy the grocery. So now this just got, if I had a bunch of things, now I'm shifting those things. I now grab the first thing and I threw it on the bottom. And then I grab the creative menu and the rest and throw it at the top. Why? Why did I put the menu? Because look, if I have an Indian type of cuisine in there, or if I have tacos, or if I have donuts, whatever my food truck's gonna cater and serve, I'm gonna probably attract different clientele. If I'm a vegan food truck, it's gonna attract different clientele, right? So let's say I decide that I want to do vegan food. I want plant-based, super healthy stuff. Now, will that make my location and my routes, my routes, my food truck routes, my where am I gonna park my truck? That'll make it a little bit easier because now I gotta think about who do I need to attract, who needs to see my truck. So I might park it at a food festival. I might park it in front of a mall. I might park it in front of a hospital. I might park it in front of a wellness center of some sort. I might park it in front of a real estate office. Well, actually, if I had a donut food truck, I might park it in front of a real estate. But knowing what kind of menu I'm gonna have is gonna help me with 2 things already on that to-do list, right? So Knowing what kind of menu and recipes I'm gonna have now makes these two other things easier. Buying groceries and knowing where to and finding out where to park my truck to capture a certain type of audience. So now I delete or I put those two other on hold. Those two things, I put them to the side. And now I know that coming up with the menu is probably my first and most. It's gonna make the marketing easier. So what's now? Let's go into the focusing question, which is something you can find on the One Thing book. Usually, there's one in that's like the last chapter. It's called the focusing question chapter, and you just ask yourself this question: what's the one thing that I can do? And then you fill in whatever you need to do. What's the one thing that I can do to launch my food truck business such that by doing it will make my no, will make everything easier or unnecessary? That's basically what we've been doing in the last 6 minutes of this video, right? We've been answering that question. What's the At first the question was, what's anything I can do? That was the question. What's anything I can do? Then we narrowed it down by asking, well, what's the one thing I can do that such by doing it will make everything else in that list easier or even unnecessary? That's what I want you guys to really get out of this episode today is don't just settle for doing a to-do list. I want you guys to really go deep and it takes work and it takes effort. I've noticed that at the when I first started doing this exercise is that, man, I'm like, is doing things, is execution, is accomplishing things, does it really take this much work? Like, I'm not even out there, I'm not even driving the truck, I'm not even cooking, I'm not buying the groceries, and it already feels like I'm sitting down on my here on my desk with a piece of paper brainstorming. It already feels like a lot of work. So it felt counterintuitive where I'm like, it's supposed to feel like a lot of work. Well, I'm not really doing anything. I'm not really out there hustling, right? Hitting the streets, hitting the pavement. I'm not doing that yet. But why does it feel like something? So I want to warn you there that as you're doing this success, as you're brain dumping all your things that you could do, and as you're then narrowing down to the most important thing that you think is your one thing that you can do that will make everything else easier or necessary, it's going to take a lot of work up here. So I want to really give you that heads up so you can keep pushing through. Keep pushing through and just sit there and really, really dig deep on these concepts, you guys. I'm looking at my notes to see if there was anything else that I wanted to talk about, but that is it. I mean, we really went deep into this topic. It honestly, right now my brain is hurting because just thinking of everything I could do to open up a food truck business really hurt my brain. It's gonna feel that way, and I want you to feel it because if you're feeling it, then you're doing it right. That was some. I'm just gonna stop the video because I was like, I just dropped knowledge bomb right there. I'm just gonna stop the video right there. Ready?